Hello everybody, Hassan here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about this genomics company, this biotech company that may potentially 10 to 100x from here on. And of course, this is a thread on Twitter from Antonio Linares. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the family name right, but they tweeted the following. ARK Invest is probably right on Teladoc. Here's how the company can revolutionize the healthcare industry and 10 to 100x or more from here over the coming decade. So this is a bold statement, guys. This is 10x is one thing, but 100x is another. I mean, even if the company is worth less than $10 billion, 100x means this company could be worth $1 trillion. Now, whether or not I agree with this statement depends on the thread itself. Let's go through it. The current healthcare system sucks for patients because it is not focused on outcomes. Patients go through the system hoping for the best with long waiting time, fighting through traffic to get appointments. Data is the future, and Teladoc is all about data, so I can't disagree with this tweet. Number two, data is future because health is information. Our bodies are just information moving back and forward. The more data we can pick up about our health, the more we can focus on outcomes. Well, managed because that process, the most health data is equal or bigger to potential trillion market dollars, right? So I'm not sure about this statement. Health data is definitely more than $1 trillion. I think most people would agree with that statement. But that's not really an argument to make when you talk about Teladoc 100xing from here on, right? I agree that data is the key here. It is the commodity, especially tech companies have done this, have unlocked it the last 5-10 years. We've seen Google, we've seen Amazon, we've seen Microsoft, we've seen Apple do it, of course Meta most recently. So but I don't necessarily think that alone should be a statement. And that's why the tweet goes on saying the market thinks that Teladoc is Zoom for doctors, but recent history taught us time and time again the power of networks. Teladoc covers 92 million insured American lives and 10K plus providers. That's really hard to catch up and stems from world class B2B distribution. So I 100% agree with that statement. I've made videos on that. I think people that are saying that there are easy Teladoc killers out there should be looking at what Amazon did just recently, closing their basically their telemedicine branch because, for whatever reason, right? I heard both sided argument. I heard the argument that it's a losing business, and I heard the other argument saying, which I think is the correct argument here, that the competition is so saturated that it just doesn't work for Amazon to go pursue that venture, right? And Teladoc is obviously leading that front, considering, in my opinion, they're the most valuable company in this telemedicine space. If we assume network effects are indeed strong, Teladoc value is equal to number of members times revenue per member. That's a fair statement. Member growth is slow, but revenue/member over member has a good chance of exponentially, and the track record is awesome. So those are valid statement. That's what we've seen. That's what we talked about in our latest videos on Teladoc. So good tweet there. If revenues per member does go up exponentially, so will Teladoc stock. It'll be a very hard challenge, but Teladoc seems to have a culture to pull it off. I like how this person is tweeting out his or her article from Substack. So shout out to them for writing such good articles. And of course, shout out to them for tweeting these summaries, right? It's interesting that the market of Livinggo's acquisition, but it was paid 93% in Teladoc stock with multiple all-time highs per not an awful capital allocation move. The key force is driving revenue per member. I think that's sort of ignoring the fact that, the whole saga of last 5-6 months of Teladoc has been over the fact that they may have overpaid for Livinggo. But again, could you have known that in 2020? Who knows? It's so easy to be a history of revisionist, right? So, at the time they made that decision, it was a calculated move. These acquisitions are not done like where CEO just makes a call or sends an email, right? There are teams of teams working on these M&As, right? Plus it's a public company, right? They have a duty to their shareholders, but I digress there. So management claims that growth in revenue per member is driven by BetterHelp and chronic care complete. So BetterHelp is definitely a player here that we want to take a look at. We talked about it in our latest video. BetterHelp downloads on the App Store have been really going up. Something you want to take a look at and keep track. The amazing thing about Teladoc is that it is a software tech company in a sense where you can track those metrics on the Apple Store, on Google Play Store. I haven't looked at numbers at Google Play Store, but I know for a fact that Apple iOS Store, or whatever it's called now, App Store, is doing really well, at least for BetterHelp. Financially, the company is in decent shape. It is currently sitting at homeostasis, meaning that cascading latest value due exponential revenue per member. Teladoc will likely become a cash machine. 100% agree with that statement once again. It's not all good news for Teladoc. It is a risky pick. PS ratio at 2 versus 20 plus not long ago. This is an asymmetric bet with potential exponential future. I mean, PS ratio, if you look at any of these traditional values, whatever you want to metric it, I think it's well undervalued. We took a look at one of the metrics. I think it was, I'm not sure what it was. I think we looked at the PE ratio or something, and we looked at it for this company, and everything is pointing towards the right direction for a retail investor to look at this company seriously. And I think they've gone in some traction here and there. But it is what it is. Also, if you want to learn more of the U.S. healthcare market, understand broadly opportunity rebuilding, feel free to check out my dive deep. Okay, so this person here has obviously done their homework on Teladoc, not looking at only their shareholders' letters and corporate presentation, but also looking at the broad market there. I think there's something to be said about this trend. Whether or not they can 100x plus, I think that's a bold statement. I don't want to go there. I'm not really ready to go there. I think especially since we're in a recession, it's easy to me for say these bold statements just to grab attention. Although this video is titled in a sense for grabbing attention, but you guys know the YouTube game. But the point here is I think this gentleman did a great job working on this article. I would say the only criticism I have over this is first, I think the Livinggo acquisition, I wouldn't really say it was just for getting, I wouldn't say it's just a positive net. Obviously, the stock has been hit so hard that you have to acknowledge that it was a negative move in a sense. You have to. I mean, short term, you have to. Long term, I think that's the jury's still out for that. I think another topic I wish it was addressed, it was more about, exploring why Zoom for doctors is not the proper analogy for Teladoc, right? We talk about the trust factor, we talk about loyalty, we talk about B2B side of things. There are some sticky points there, and of course they talk about network effects, which I think this thread did an amazing job talking about it. But the key here is that healthcare is one of those industries, in my opinion, is so legacy. I mean, if you guys have been in any of these hospitals or just been to your family doctor, it doesn't matter if you're in the US, right? Just come into Canada. We talk about free healthcare here and there, and it looks really good on paper, and it is in a sense. But then you see these whole lineups. I mean, there was this. I mean, the Quebec elections are going right now in Quebec, obviously being a province of Canada, and the big topic there is how can we get more family doctors to Quebecers, right? Québécois in French, we say it. So it's a big topic, and the way you get there, the way you get every citizen of your country, of your region, a dedicated doctor, dedicated professional. Unfortunately, it cannot be done by atoms to atoms. What I mean by that, it can't be done by you moving physically to another space. It can't be done. It just can't. It just doesn't scale that way, right? Physicalities, real estate costs, investment, capex. I mean, there's so many variables there that prevents you from having a perfect scenario where you have a one-to-one ratio of doctors available to patient/citizen. Now, the way you do get there, is with a telemedicine path, right? Is with a Teladoc, is with something like Teladoc where you pull up your app, which at this point, most citizens have an app. And if they don't, as we go forward in the next 2 to 5 years, more people will get phones in their hands, cheaper costs on phones that were just released 5-10 years ago that are really performing, that can download these latest apps. I mean, at this point, we're all moving digital, right? To me, this is the way we get there. This is the way we go to the next level with healthcare. Teladoc has a play in genomics. It does. I mean, I know a lot of people criticize me for saying that Teladoc is a genomics company. I'm sorry, but it is. I totally agree with ARK Invest. I mean, I'm not the only one saying this. And I think there is a statement to be said about this. There is a argument to be made here. So I will end this video like this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do like this video. Do subscribe. I'm going to end this video by saying to you guys that we are a beautiful Tuesday. So hopefully you guys do like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.